Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hi there. Normally on the first Wednesdays of every month I would diligently attend Tom Woodruff's open mic at Half Price Books of community poets that would share 10 to 20 minute feature readings, and I am kind of heartbroken that I haven't been able to attend his open mic, but in honor of his reading, this is not community poetry, no it is not, but I thought I would share with you poems the way I often would at the beginning of the month like this. So I thought I'd share with you a few poems from the cc&d September-December 2020 issue collection book titled Roll the Bones. I'm looking at the light. I've got too much light in here, you guys. Let's see if I can... Will this make any difference? We'll see. What do you think? Will we be able to see each other? Nobody knows. Anyway, that's what we get for having windows, because it's daytime. I'm reading in the daylight. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I would share with you some poems from this book, Roll the Bones, issue collection book from cc&d magazine through Scars Publications, scars.tv. And if you'd like to know anything about it, you can always go to scars.tv and go to cc&d magazine and become a part of the revolution. I believe somebody recently wrote that it's one of the last standing bastions of free speech, because a lot of things are taken over by colleges and universities for having the right message. You have to give a social issue message. You have to be on our set of beliefs in order to have something that we want to actually share with the world. Well, you might have some of my own biases, but you will get a wide variety of fascinating pieces in cc&d magazine and Scars Publications. So if you want to check it out, you can. I would love it if you'd like to be a part of it. You can always send a submission our way, though I have to warn you, because of the fires, not the fires, because of the ice storm in the middle of the month, we had no power for a week. So even though I was already behind, I'm even more behind on reading submissions now. So you might not hear from us immediately, but I wanted to let you know that you're always welcome to be a part of cc&d and Scars Publications. You are. But I thought I would read some poems for you and share with you probably the last poems that I would read from this issue collection book. These are from the reptile section of Roll the Bones. And this first one I'm going to share with you is titled Once Again Regain Our Humanity. And it was written on the 9th of December, which is on the 1941 date that the subsequent Nuremberg trials began, with the doctors' trial, or physicians who were officers who were involved in Nazi human experimentation and mass murder throughout because of euthanasia. So, now you know what to be prepared for. Here we go. This is written in honor of that, and this is titled Once Again Regain Our Humanity. Any history buff with a penchant for Hitler would go into detail about, say, their V-2 rocket assault on Britain, or about how killing Jews with bullets was far too time-consuming, or how German SS soldiers were encouraged to father many children, even if not in wedlock, because Germany needed to produce more blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan babies. World War II buffs could rehash their post-war Nuremberg trials for Germany's war crimes too, but on the scale of the Nazis' final solution, indicting officers was never enough. Now, they can all say that they were just following orders, but humankind assumed the Hippocratic Oath made doctors swear that they would do no harm to living beings. But in World War II, Nazi human experimentation thrived from experiments on twins, because when one twin died, you had a duplicate for biological comparison, versus hitting kids with a hammer until they go insane, or freezing people to see how long they'll live. Because, sure, you can hear about the mass killing and think that things couldn't get any worse. But the thing is, scientifically, medically, they can. From giving mustard gas or electroshock experiments. And the people doing this were doctors, vowing an oath to heal. So, do they think they get off scot-free? They knew what they were doing, including forcing euthanasia in psychiatric hospitals, justifying their actions by inciting eugenics, compassion, reducing suffering, racial hygiene, and, get this, saving money. They even posted flyers outlining how much money these unhealthy people cost. Maybe you hear something enough, even the insane might become justifiable. But when you step back, when you take a good, objective look at the system, you probably need to send these doctors through the U.S. military courts, because really, after what everyone discovered really happened, that was closed off from the outside world, that even doctors could go against their one solemn oath to heal. A dozen military tribunals doesn't seem like enough to try to make the world right again. How did this happen? One is forced to consider. And what's next? How do we get out of this hole humanity has been thrown into? And before we're shot, left in the ditch to die, what steps can we take to affirm that this is not humanity, but inhumane? So that we can shake the insanity that took over the minds of the blindly obedient, and we can once again regain our humanity. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, these are such wild pieces, and they relate to all different weird things have happened in history, and these last ones are things that happened at the end of the year. This next poem I'm going to share with you was written on the 16th of December, and it was the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. Boston Tea Party. For all you American-type people who think you know. You probably still won't after I read this from this book, but it'll make you think about a little bit more about different things. So this piece is called Uprising for Revolution. When sentiments run high, there's revolution in the air. We feel we're at a tipping point and we don't know what else to do. Did I feel that way, exasperated with politics, hearing the Tea Party represented a more constitutional way of government? Because that's why I made a point to collect my tea leaves for weeks, to dump them into the Chicago River downtown on April 15th, tax day. Looking back, I may not have chosen to support a party movement, but I did like the idea of protesting when I saw something wrong. Leaving my doctor's office post-surgery to do a little protesting of my own. We may not fully understand the reason for the Boston Tea Party uprising and propping up British tea companies and heavily taxing colonies in 1773 at a time that coined the phrase taxation without representation. Back in the day before this country became a collection of nation-states. But a lot of Americans still understand the need for a revolution, for something, anything to change the way things are run in the United States. Not enough instill change through our vote, so we dump tea leaves into the Chicago River, or quit supporting a foreign or current government, which is when we start our trek on those stepping stones to start our own revolution and incite a real uprising. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 1, 2, I might just read 2 more for you guys. This one, something about Dostoevsky and Martin Luther. Oh, this is interesting for the last 2 pieces I'm going to share with you from this book. This first one, the longer one, is titled Overturn the Futility, and it was written on the 22nd of December. which is the 1849 date that Dostoevsky was supposed to be killed for crimes against the Tsar. Did you know that? You might learn a little bit more here. This is titled Overturn the Futility. I told him that I really liked reading the writing of Dostoevsky. I know his writing doesn't match my logical, rational views, but he was an author I loved to read. I was drawn to the futility that his protagonists endured. Then I couldn't help but connect. He then said that it was tough reading, difficult, too complex, but I never thought that. I just liked the messages, however fatalistic they may have ultimately seemed. He then said that he thinks that a lot of goth people like his writings, and I can't speak to that. I can only say it speaks to something we all feel and cannot put to words, which is something everyone feels. But we all hold it in, and we are told to not think about it because those bad feelings are wrong, and that is that. Stifle it away and bury it within, because that's all we do to make it look like we understand all and that we're ahead of everyone else. But reading Dostoevsky allowed yourself to immerse yourself in all of the unthinkable, even if only for a brief moment, before you have to shake yourself of all the bad that stayed in hiding, surrounding your soul nonetheless. I recently heard that Dostoevsky was arrested in protests. They planned to shoot him for his crimes. I don't even know what his crimes were, other than believing in things that are against the Tsar's beliefs. They planned to shoot him, and on the day that he was to be shot, at the last minute, they decided to overturn the ruling and ship him to Siberia for 4 years instead. And, of course, this time was beyond unbearable. Living with others like sardines, unable to move, freezing, thinking this was beyond his limits. We talk now of how we have it so tough, how life doesn't seem fair. And now that we claim to be in a rational world, we look for reason in choices made. We feel anger when we think that things don't go our way. And really, when we look at what it could be, when we look at the futility of how life could really be, even the most goth amongst us need to read how life could really be. There was my little goth poem for you. No, it's not goth. There's my Dostoevsky poem for you. And this last poem is a one-page poem, and it's going to be the last poem that I share with you from this book. And this poem is titled Zealots Intentions. And it was written on the 10th of December, on the anniversary of the 1520 date that Martin Luther burned his copy of the papal bull Exsurge Domine at Wittenberg in Ulstersgate. So this is when he actually burned. Yeah, well, here we go. This is called Zealots Intentions. If you see a great church burned down, then see its religiously wealthy leaders ask for money to rebuild the church, you might question these religiously wealthy zealots about their intentions and protest them for asking for more. When religions tout that money is the root of all evil, why then must they ask for more from the poor? But don't you dare point this out in a deeply rooted system, a system no one seems to question. For if you confront religious misdeeds, they'll write papal bull to destroy you. That may be another way the church may try to silence anyone who may protest them. So, go ahead. In an act of faith, burn your copy of their bull. It may not change what they said, but it will show the world that you won't let those you know are wrong silence you. This is the truth, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and that is why I share that as the last poem in this book for you guys. That was, I hope you enjoyed that reading from the cc&d magazine September to December 2020 issue collection book. This is titled Roll the Bones. I hope you enjoyed your readings. I enjoyed sharing them with you. I hope everyone is remaining safe. I hope everyone is remaining creatively inclined. There's an abacus behind me. I'm sorry, I was just seeing it in the reflection. I've got an abacus and a cubit, because you need to know the length of a cubit. Sorry, I'm looking at the things in my library. Sorry about that, you guys. If anybody wants to know anything about cc&d magazine, you can always look at Scars Publications, Scars, scars.tv/ccd for cc&d, or just look for cc&d at scars.tv. You can find out anything about it. You can find this book at Amazon or at Scars. And if you are interested in being a part of the literary revolution, you can always find a way to bug me there. And thank you all so very much for listening, and I hope you all stay safe. Know that this pandemic is going to end soon, and I will speak to each of you very, very soon. We'll see if we get another reading in at this time for community poetry. And thank you all so very much, each and every one of you. Thank you for listening.